So you're thinking of buying a house for the very first time here in the Phoenix area? Well, that's a fantastic decision. I tell you what, there's all kinds of great benefits to doing just that. However, before you make the big jump into buying a new house for the very first time, there are a number of things that you want to be aware of, mistakes that a lot of people make that you want to avoid. And that's the subject of this video. We're going to talk about the top 5 things that most people make as a mistake in buying a first home so that you can avoid those mistakes and make your home buying process a lot easier and a lot more effective. When does that start? It starts right now. So this is the first time to our channel. Make sure you click the like and subscribe button so you keep yourself updated on all the things going on in the Phoenix real estate market. My name is Mark Phillips. On behalf of everyone at EXP, I can tell you that we get calls each and every week from people just like you, all asking questions about the Phoenix real estate market, all the ins and outs, buying and selling, all that kind of stuff. And I tell you, we just absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about buying in 9 days or 9 months, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. We'll be happy to make sure that your move to the Phoenix area or move within the Phoenix area is as smooth as absolutely possible. Okay, so one of the biggest items that most new home buyers overlook is adequately preparing a budget to buy the new home. A lot of people just think because they come from a renting situation where you just pay the rent every month and everything else is included in that. Your water, your sewer, things like that, all usually included. Well, when you get into a new home, those things are not going to be included in your mortgage payment. Now, the mortgage will cover part of the principal payment. It'll cover the interest. It'll cover the taxes prorated, and it'll cover the insurance prorated. But that's just the mortgage. Okay, what about all the other things that you want to be thinking about? You want to be putting aside a little bit of money every month. And ideally, you kind of do it every time you pay the mortgage. You maybe set aside $100 or $500 or whatever you determine that number to be. Set it aside for what I would call an emergency fund. So what you want to put those numbers into a budget so that you know that you've got money when those things come up. Because over the course of time, things are going to eventually wear out. Things like the roof is going to need attention in time. The air conditioning unit, the same thing. So all those kinds of things you want to know about. Now, how do you effectively create a budget? How do you know what you don't know? Well, that's where it comes into really important relief, where you talk to 2 very important people. First of which is going to be a realtor, someone who knows the business, someone who's been doing it for many, many years, who can give you all the benefits of their experience and all the little things that you want to know about. Again, not to scare you, but just so that you can make an informed decision. The second, and perhaps even more important than that, would be to get in touch with a trusted lender. The lender is going to help you not only with your mortgage, but also give you all the extra benefits of that kind of detail. And you can go and fully effectively build out a budget so that you can know when I go looking for a home, that you can actually afford the home and get into it with everything, as many known things as possible. So that's going to be the first thing you want to really pay attention to, is making sure you have an effective budget. The second thing you really want to know about, and this is what a mistake a lot of homeowners make, and it's understandable. I mean, it's absolutely human that people would do this. But what I will try to advise you to kind of avoid, or at least try to desensitize yourself. Try to treat the home buying process with more what I would call forensic eyes, or kind of a disinterest. I mean, you're obviously going to fall in love with the home, but hopefully that falling in love will happen after the fact. It's kind of like meeting someone for the first time and you fall in love with them. You tend to overlook a lot of their shortcomings that may or may not be a big deal, but later on, if they become big deals, well, then you're into it. Same thing is kind of true with the home. I would ask that you go and look for the things that you want to have in the home, of course. Work with your realtor to find out those details and get the home that you absolutely really, really like. But try to remain a little bit removed from it. Don't quite fall totally in love with it until after you've bought the home. Why? Is because there are a lot of moving parts in the negotiation process. There are a lot of moving parts in the whole getting from the contract acceptance piece to the close of escrow. Okay, so if you are in love with the home, you'll tend to overlook things, and what that means is that you may make expensive decisions just because you've fallen in love with a home. You're overlooking things that maybe you shouldn't overlook. So keep that in mind. Also, when depending on the market, if you go and make an offer on a home, well, chances are if you love the home, other people will as well. And if it's in a very active market, it may be that you're competing with other buyers for that same property. Now, if you're competing with those other buyers, again, if you're in love with the home, you tend to overlook things, you tend to spend more money than you want to. And that's where kind of removing yourself, treating it more like a business transaction as opposed to an emotional transaction, it'll make it a lot more effective and beneficial for you because you won't be as attached to the property yet. There's a time for that. You can fall in love with the home absolutely completely when you move in. But before that, try and keep a step back or two so that you can make better decisions from a financial standpoint. Falling in love with the home comes later. Okay, so that's something you want to think about, especially in a situation where there may be more than one offer competing for each other, and you want to make the best decision, because what you don't want to do is what was seen in the last seller's market, where there was very few properties on the market, a lot of buyers. People were just figuring, I'll just throw more money at the problems. They ended up paying way too much for homes just to be able to get into a home that they may not even have liked as much, but they felt kind of desperate. So by removing yourself a little bit from the transaction and talking with your realtor about all those kinds of things will help you make a more effective decision, better for your pocketbook and better for that long-term falling in love with the home. The next on our list is really comes down to, there are a lot of real estate agents in any given market. What oftentimes will happen is new buyers, especially new buyers, will start to talk to a real estate agent. They talk to one and they think, wow, okay, I really want to work with him. Well, or her. That's fine. But I will say that there are a lot of differences in real estate agents. Just because you have a real estate license does not mean you know what you're doing. So I would recommend, if you're going to go with a real estate agent, a couple of things you want to think about. First of all, ask them about their experience. How many homes have they worked with? How many years have they been working? How many experiences with new home buyers have they had? All those kinds of things will help work better for you. Better to ask the questions up front and interview them, as opposed to just going with the first one. Because I can tell you again, there's a lot of different experience with various realtors, as well as the teams that they may or may not be a part of. I can tell you, being a member of a team, it's very beneficial to not only myself as an agent in providing service, but more importantly, the services that the clients that we have can come to expect. If I'm not always available, guess what? I've got teammates that help. Not all realtors are parts of teams, or even if they're not a part of a team, in their brokerage, do they have someone to fill in for them when they're not there for you? When they can't answer the phone, or when they're happen to be showing a house, or if they're really busy, do they have time for you? Do they have other people willing to fill in for you, for them to help you get your answers to your questions? Things like that. Other things with the real estate agents. It comes down to a matter of experience. Do they know what they're doing? I mean, a lot of real estate agents, just because you pass a test, again, it's up to the broker. Does the team that they work with, or the brokerage that they work with, did they provide adequate training to get them involved? And again, this is where the training and experience really comes in and is important. So those are the kind of things that you want to think about. Don't make the mistake of hiring a new or inexperienced real estate agent, especially one who's one of those, what I call a hobby agent, who maybe sells 2, 3, 4 homes a year, maybe not even that. And they come to you maybe because they're your brother-in-law or they're a family friend or something like that. Ask them the questions, because again, this is the most important decision, or one of them certainly, that you're going to make in your life. It's best to have someone who knows what they're doing on your side. Okay, one of the next biggest mistakes that most people make, I should say most, but it does happen. And I want you to know that if you do this, it might happen and have a negative effect on your ability to buy your new home. So let's say we go out and we find you the perfect home. Gonna happen. We get you all, everything's great. We negotiate with the seller, everything is in place, moving right along. We get through the inspections and everything is going right along. We're good to go. And you get all excited. You're thinking, okay, I'm mentally moving into this home already. What do you want to do? Well, we got to put stuff in it. So what do? We go to the store. We go and buy all kinds of furniture. We go buy appliances. We get all kinds of stuff. We put it on the credit card thinking we'll just pay for it after we close. Everything's good to go. Well, then we come and get a phone call from the lender later on in the process saying that there's been some detrimental effect to their credit, and that's going to cause the lender to basically say no to the loan and cancel the deal. So that's a big problem that I don't want to have happen for you. So what I will suggest, if you're thinking when you start to begin the process of buying a new home, for the first couple months before that, certainly during the escrow process, and any time before closing, I would ask that all of my clients refrain from buying anything big on a credit card. Just everything happens after the close, okay? I've had clients come in and, like I've just described for you, we had a client not too long ago. During the process, we found them their dream home. They were so thrilled. They had some extra money because that's where it was all exciting for them. They went out and bought a new car. Killed the deal. The lender saw they dropped their credit just enough to where it changed the whole situation for them. They had to cancel. It was so heartbreaking. And again, they just didn't follow the situation. They didn't know any better. Okay, so that's just something that you want to know about. Don't make that mistake. In fact, or if you want to have some fun with your realtor, if you're in a really good relationship with them, midway through the process, call them up and tell them that you just went and bought a new car and how excited you are, just to gauge their reaction. No, don't do that. That's really mean. But at the same time, please don't make that mistake. It'll potentially keep you from getting into your new home. So something to think about, something to be aware of. One of the mistakes, don't make that one. Okay, the very last of our top 5 biggest mistakes that new home buyers might make is having to do with insurance. And it's not, we'll talk more about it in another video, all the importance of insurance, but this is the one nugget I want you to take away from that you want to know right up front. And the reason I mentioned this to you is because it happened to a family member of mine recently. Unfortunately, there was an accident that happened and his house burned to the ground. I mean, it was a total loss all the way down to the foundation, okay? So it was a bad deal for him, but one of the things that he found out as a result of that was that he was smart, and his realtor advised him, and I had talked to him about this as well. But basically, he made sure that he got replacement value insurance. Okay, so it's not to say that the insurance agents are not knowledgeable, whatever. They're going to sell you a policy that's going to be the most effective for you, hopefully. But they're trying to get the lowest cost so they win the business. So you want to make sure you talk to your realist or your insurance agent, and make sure you get replacement value of your policy so that whenever the claim is made, let's say you're just like my relative, and he went and he had to make the claim, and my brother went to them and they're like, okay, well, we're going to pay you what it's going to take. Well, they got replacement value, so they replaced it as it was right then. Let's say you're 5, 10, 15 years into the policy and you go and make a claim, they depreciate it and pay you what the depreciated value might not be enough to cover what you need rebuilt. So just make sure you know that. Make sure you ask your insurance agent for that policy and make sure you get that kind of coverage. Very important. Hopefully you'll never need it, but it's also nice to know when you do, you're covered. So these have been the top 5 most common mistakes that I've seen and members of my team have seen going into buying new homes, especially for the new home buyer, because here again, you don't know what you don't know. So it comes down to the things that you want to know. There's going to be more out there, and that's where the advantages of coming in and working with a seasoned realtor are going to come in and give you the benefit of their experience, as well as working with a seasoned lender. Again, benefit of their experience, because as we know, as all being adults, when we make mistakes, it's not just painful, it's potentially painful to the pocketbook. So trying to get you to avoid those. If ever you have any questions, again, my name is Mark Phillips. I'm with eXp Realty. Happy to help you in any ways possible. Just comment below or send me a text or an email. I'm happy to help you do whatever we can for you. Until then, we'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.